Well, hello there and welcome back to America's Funniest Handyman, where today I'm going to show you how to seal up the gaps in your front door that are letting tons and tons of cold air in. I live in the Philadelphia area, and in the Northeast in January and February it gets super cold. And if you have cracks like these, if you can see daylight coming through the sides of your front door, that means you also have a ton of cold air coming into your house, which means that your heater is running way more than it should be. So today I'm going to show you how to use some basic, simple weather stripping called doorstop weather stripping, which is available at your big box store. And I'm going to show you how to put it around the outside so that you can seal up the front door.
Swing the hammer, turn the screw, cut the saw and stick the glue, shave the shim, clamp the vise, cut once, measure twice.
Okay, it's really cold today. It's super windy and I forgot my microphone, so we're just going to do our best with the sound. The information is what's important, and the information I'm giving you today is about this product right here, which usually comes in a package of 3 pieces. One short one for the top of the door and 2 long ones for either side of the door. Now I'm not sure if you can tell here, but this is 2 pieces. There's an actual weather stripping that's attached to this, which is called a doorstop. Doorstop meaning that doors usually close up against the stop. I'm holding this in my hand so that you can see the name on the product does not say doorstop weather stripping, but if you were to Google doorstop weather stripping, this is the product that you would find. I installed this particular product on a lot of my customers' houses, and it makes a huge difference in their foyer, in their entryway, in their mudrooms, in their back rooms, because you take away that gap that is letting so much cold air in. In this case, the bottom gap is fine. The weather strip on the bottom is sealing nicely against the threshold. And so I'm going to show you right now how this particular type of doorstop gets added to the door like that. And in this case, you can see it's actually going to make it look a little bit nicer, because if you look and see, you can tell that you can't tell, but the old weather stripping that's in here is totally compromised and doesn't work anymore. So once this gets added, it's nice and fluffy and cushiony, and it gives the entire circumference of the door, perimeter of the door, something to close up against. So right now I'm going to take some measurements. I'm going to measure all 3 sides, and then I'm going to take it over to my miter saw, and I'm going to show you how I cut it with a miter cut on each corner. You don't have to use a miter cut. You could just put this up there flush and have each piece come up and meet it. But I like to use a miter cut because it just looks a little bit nicer.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn my saw to make a miter cut, and then you can see that this is nice and cushiony. I'm going to push that cushion down on the saw to make it nice and flat and tight while I make the miter cut. Look at that, huh? See how nice that cut is? And it'll go together nice at the top with the other pieces when I do the same thing. Probably be a good idea for me to put my glasses on.
Maybe you can't tell a joke, but when your stuff gets broke, what do? You give Tommy a call, whether it's large or small. There's no project he can't see through. Let's laugh and learn from this handyman, with Kitty hold this by his side, fixing stuff in a serious way with a not so serious guy.
Thresholds typically have a little bit of an angle on them, so I'm going to cut about somewhere between a 5 and a 10-degree angle at the bottom, and I'm probably going to go with about 8 degrees. Okay, now we're all cut. I'm going to show you how nicely this all fits together. But I'm going to keep my miter saw out and operational just in case I need to trim these down. I'm not going to put everything away because that's bad luck. If you put the saw away, you'll definitely have to take 1/8 of an inch off of one of these things. Okay, I've got my pieces cut and I've got a nail gun to install it with. You don't have to use a nail gun. You could just use a hammer and some small finish nails. That's fine. I use a nail gun because it's easier. I just want to say, when you're about to push these up against the door, you don't want to squeeze it really hard up against the door because it'll make the door way more difficult to open and close with the latch. You don't want to mess with how easily the latch closes when you open and shut the door. And like I said, it needs to be trimmed. Well, no surprises there. I like to cut them a little bit long beforehand, just to make sure they don't come up short. So I took 1/8 of an inch off, or 1/16 of an inch off. Now it should fit perfect. Whenever you're working on doors, you want, every time you do something to a door, put a screw in, add a piece of molding, you want to open and shut the door to make sure it still works before you keep moving on. We're good. So I'm going to put the other pieces in.
Swing the hammer, turn the screw, cut the saw and stick the glue, shave the shim, clamp the vise, cut once, measure twice. Drill the hole and fill the hole, put the thingy in the hole. Be sure you're having fun, measure twice, cut once.
Okay, let me show you what we got going on here. So when I do front doors like this that are totally exposed to the weather and the rain, I don't like to bring a brand new wooden doorstop right down to the threshold because I don't want it to start soaking up water if water collects in this area. So I keep a little bit of a gap here, about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch is good. But you can see that that 8-degree angle that I used right here came out nice. And as you can see, I'm going to open and shut the door and you can see how this stuff works. You can actually watch this compress. And as you can see, the miter cuts at the top look pretty nice. This one's good and sealed. Let's walk inside. And you can see that the daylight that was coming in, which was letting all that cold air in, is now gone. In a couple of hours, this room is going to be nice and warm compared to how it's been for the last 10 or 15 years. And it'll also be easier to keep cool in the summertime. Okay, not a ton of humor and funny stuff involved in this one, but I'm not always America's funniest handyman. Sometimes I'm just America's best handyman. But I will tell you this, it is February and I'm white as a sheet, and this particular installation has been brought to you by Truly Tainted Tanning Toner. And so, with the ghoulishly grim face of winter imminently approaching, they were wretchedly reminded once again of the bourgeois battle between man and the sun. Seasons come and go, and with each passing year, they would try, oh so desperately, to cling to that golden glowing flesh which they had grown to love. But to no avail came winter, stepping forth like some sadistic Father Christmas, demanding something sacred which they were not prepared to give, forcing them to take on a pale, fish belly appearance in place of that golden glowing flesh which they had grown to love. Amidst the madness and confusion rose a beacon of beauty and benevolence. There, but for the dark of winter, echoed 4 magnificent words. Truly tainted tanning toner, the only way to achieve a lasting hold on the golden, glowing, brown, bronze, sensuous tan that has brought so many shallow individuals and so many others exactly like them so much superficial happiness. Truly tainted tanning toner.